Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I'm going to be building this apartment for a sim and a single sim, and it has one bed and two bathrooms. There's potential for there's a potential to have two beds and two baths, but the sim I'm building this for doesn't have any need for a second bedroom, so she has an office instead. So it's one bed and two bathrooms. I building this on the culpepper house, if I remember correctly. It's gonna be on the top left corner of the screen. I never take off the name of the lot I'm building on. Um, but how this started is I didn't intend to build or to make a new build anytime soon. I think my last upload was last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember, but I really didn't intend to make a new build, but I just got very inspired by the sim. So how it started with the last build that I made. I'm gonna pop up. I'm gonna put a card on the screen so you can reference that video. But with the last build that I made it for a sim that I created. I hadn't before that. I had not opened the game in about a month to a month and a half. So I just wanted to create a sim. That's how I started. And I ended up really loving the sim that I created. Her name is Marcy, and I'm going to put a picture of her just on the screen. She's such a cutie. So I really ended up loving her, and I decided to start a new save file or a new playthrough rather with her, and it's been going so well. But in the midst, oh my goodness, in the midst of the playthrough, I she met a couple of people. She likes to meet people. Basically, she goes on dates and like friendship dates, and she meets new people on the dating app, Cupid's Corner. She meets people on there and goes on dates and stuff. But anyways, she ended up meeting this sim who would be the owner of this house. Her name is Yumi. I'm gonna put a picture of her on the screen as well. She ended up meeting the sim Yumi, and they really got along. I mean, from the time they said hello, their friendship just really went up, and I wanted to keep the friendship going, so I decided to give Yumi a makeover. And she is so cute. She turned out so cute. I really love how she turned out, and I didn't really change like the features, like her hair color and stuff like that. I just used CC. But yeah, and I really loved how she looked, and I was like, I wanted to expand on her story a little bit more. I don't intend to play with her full term. Mercy is still gonna be my main sim to play with, but I really just wanted Yumi to have more of a presence, especially when I was checking her out her background. I noticed that she was homeless. Yeah, so I decided to expand on her, and that's how this house came through. Now I'm really happy with this build. You see that I've figured out the floor plan and the wallpaper and basically most of the structure of the house, and I'm just putting in furniture. The way I like to build, I like to put in all of the important furniture pieces that I require and then go back and clutter and do all of that. So yeah, I figured out most of that. Here I am in the living room, and I am figuring out the layout and the placement of the furnitures. Now, I would say that for that living room, it was quite large. I usually, well, that would be a lie. I do large living rooms, but this one even more large than it's this one is even more large than I usually do, and it took me a while to figure out where to place everything. But I'll get on to talking about the layout and stuff in a minute. I want to talk more about Yumi and Marcy and their friendship. So Yumi, Marcy they have like a friend group. I did a club. I created a club, and there is about I think it's eight that is maximum for Sims for each group to have. I know there's seven. or if whatever the maximum amount is, there's one less than that that they have currently. So there's a couple other things, but they're also friends with another same. This one is pre-made. Her name is Julia. I think she comes with a university pack, and she has another. I think it was Julia and Becca that are best friends with the university pack. But anyways, Marcy, Yumi, and Julia are close friends in the save file, and I eventually want to build a house for Julia as well. I'm not sure when that is going to be. This one was not planned. I just got really inspired, as I've mentioned. But my idea is that they usually visit each other, stay together, and they're just really very close friends. Marcy and Yumi are actually best friends, and I'm wanting to make Julia also a best friend of both of them, so I can close the circuit and just have them as like really close friend. Because although Marcy knows a lot, she knows over 100 people. I have over 100 people on her contact list thing, and it's very overwhelming at times when I'm trying to find someone to talk to. But she just likes to meet people. She goes around the town and the city and cities, and introduces herself to other scenes and attend festivals and stuff. And the reason I created Marcy's um, playthrough, I started playing with Marcy, is that I wanted to try a different style to my gameplay. Usually, I tend to fast track, so start with a new sim, and then end up starting a family, and then just leave domestically. I'm pretty vanilla in my gameplay, so I wanted to try something different. So here, Marcy is she just recently got promoted to vice chancellor at the no, not the university, but vice chancellor wherever she works at. She's in the education career, and Yumi also is in the education career, but she is a professor. And Julia, I think, I can't remember what Julia is doing. But anyways, Marcia just got recently promoted to the education career, and no. What? No, Marcy just recently got promoted to vice chancellor, and I'm not rushing. Normally, I would rush to fulfill the next requirements to move up the promotion line, but with the way I want the story to go, I want her to be a vice chancellor for a while. I eventually want her to become level 10 of the career, which I think is just like chancellor. But I want her to be vice chancellor for a while. I don't intend for her to spend the rest of her life in that career. She's just a young adult, and what the way I imagined her story starting was that our parents rather has high expectations of her. I imagine they're they're pretty well off in their careers, so maybe one's a doctor, a lawyer, or one of those careers that parents always want the children to do, because it's important or whatever. But anyways, I imagine that our parents are very well off in their careers, and so they've always had that high expectation of her, and have always put pressure on her to choose a similar path. So she ended up going into education, even though that's not what she wanted. She is an artist on the side, and she's a pretty high, I think she's level 8 or 9, I can't remember, but she's pretty high up in the artistry. I eventually want to move her to North Haven and have her open kind of like a tattoo shop. My plan is that maybe when she reaches adulthood, or well, she's a young adult, but maybe when she becomes an adult, she realizes that the career path, the vice chancellor, is not for her, and she gets burnt out, and then she just decides to quit and move to somewhere else, and start a career doing something that she actually loves. I am slowly leveling up her tattoo skill. I'm not doing it again. I'm not rushing to do it. I just want her to have like base knowledge, and then when we eventually move to North Haven, she can level up properly. So that's kind of like the backstory for Marcy. I honestly don't know how Marcy and Yumi met. I think it was on Cupid's Corner because that's where she meets a lot of her friends, but it could also be on the street. Because like I said, Marcy likes to go out and meet people and mingle. But yeah, let's go back and talk about the build. I have basically decided on the furniture for all of the rooms, as I'm sure you've seen. Something I do have to mention though is I play tested this build. Yay! I usually don't play test my builds because I'm pretty um because even though I don't play test, I usually don't have issues with my builds. Like everything is functional. But I have recently started play testing. I find it very annoying at times because getting the sim to do stuff and then the sim doesn't want to do stuff and you keep having to push them and reset them and stuff. But yeah, I playtested this build and I did run into everything else was fine except for a couple of issues which I fixed. Um, and they centered about around the main bedroom, the bedroom with the ensuite, this one that I'm currently decorating the room to the side. So the first issue, which I don't know how I didn't notice when I was placing the furniture, is that yellow cat. You see the yellow cat bed by the mirror? I shifted, but the yellow cat bed by the mirror, I moved it to the living room because she couldn't walk through to she couldn't get to the closet because the cat bed was in her way. There wasn't any way around it, so I just moved that to the living room. Another issue is with this bathroom that I'm currently decorating. So when I play tested this, I she couldn't use anything. Like my sim couldn't use anything in the bathroom, not the sink, not the toilet, not the bathtub, not the shower. Nothing was working. And after painstakingly taking out every single item, I figured out that it was the light, the lamp, the ceiling light, and the shelf that I put above the toilet, and also the platform that the shower is in. So I took out the shelves and replaced it with a picture. I replaced the lights with one of there's a tinier bulb light that I would eventually put in the kitchen, so you will see it. I replaced the light and I just made the floor level for the shower, and everything is functional now. There is a tour at the end of this video. You would not see that there because I did the tour before I play tested. So if you end up downloading this build, which is going to be in my gallery, but if you end up downloading it, then you would notice those changes. But it's not. You're not going to see it in this video. Um, Speaking of uploading on my gallery, it is whenever I upload apartments in particular, because you can't upload apartments as you would build houses in The Sims 4, which is ridiculous to me. I don't understand why they don't just do it the same way and I can just download an apartment and plop it. Instead, you have to upload it room by room, and that is pretty annoying because then you have to do like a jigsaw or something if you want to place it down. But anyways, the way I upload my apartment to the gallery is that I delete the walls that are on the door, or is it behind the doors? The walls where the doors are placed. I delete those walls and end up entering the entire apartment into one giant room and then just upload that room as a living room. So when you place it down, you would have to replace those walls and the wall paint and all of that, but everything should be um, more or less the same. You just would have to replace those fins. And also for the half walls, because I use the half wall for the tub in the ensuite bathroom, you would have to replace that too because it counts it as a separate room. But yeah, I really talking loved. I really loved this build, the color scheme. I think it's very warm, and I wanted something to kind of reflect the vibe that I'm getting that I got of Yumi. Yumi also, like I said, is in the education career. I don't know if she's going to be there forever. Like I said, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not planning to really play with her. Maybe I might change my mind because I really love this building, and I loved how cluttered, especially this kitchen. Um, I love how cluttered it is. I usually don't clutter my build. Like like clean builds, but I just got inspired and something just wanted me to um, I just wanted to do something different because I haven't built in a while, barring the last build I uploaded. Before that, I haven't built since a month, in a month or two, like I mentioned. But something I forgot to mention, Yumi has a cat. Yumi has a cat, and the cat's name is Mochi. I'm gonna put his picture here. He is so cute. I decided to give Yumi a cat because it just feels like a cat person. So I you would see me go back and replace some of the furniture and put a cat tree and the scratching post and the toy box thing. You're gonna see me put those down. But yeah, she has a cat named Mochi, and they live together in this apartment, obviously. But yeah, what else? Yeah, I ended up again moving some things around. Just I was deliberating, especially on this living room, where to place certain items, and how to make it, not sparse and empty because it's quite a large room. I could potentially even put in another room if I wanted, just of how large. What did I just say? Just because of how large the room actually is, you could potentially even add as another room and leave the office as is. If you're planning to expand on the build or maybe remove a family, whatever. But yeah, what was that? I was talking about the color scheme. I loved her color. I think I gave her like pink and greens and some reds in Aka's outfits. So I wanted that to reflect. And I usually don't use these colors together. I tend to go for neutrals with my builds most of the time. So I usually don't use these colors together, but I like how it looks. I like how they blend together. And it's just really cohesive in the way that it's placed. So that's really good. I was very proud of myself, and I really enjoyed building this. It was different in a way. I usually don't do apartments for because of the uploading reason. And that I have to delete walls and stuff. And I just find it annoying sometimes. So I usually don't build apartments, but I decided to do this. Well, my last build was an apartment, actually, come to think of it. But yeah, I decided to do it. You will see me now I'm just going around checking other things and adding more clutter and lights and stuff to the build. That tiny light that I just added to the closet is what I eventually replaced the bathroom lights with, just because it's better or it works better. But anyways, you are going to see me just go back and add certain things and certain decorative items more to the builds. And I check around. I think I also added a yoga mat outside with the egg chairs and just cluttered around the office and added some wall decor and stuff like that. And what else? I moved the plants so where the bar was, or where the bar is, okay, there were plants there before. I moved those plants to the balcony as well, and just try to make it look nice and aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, that's basically all there is to this build. Just me adding like her diplomas and stuff. I imagine that she got her degree in physics, so she teaches science. She is a very smart sim. She started as a kleptomaniac, but I changed that trait because I don't want to handle a thieving friend. She did steal from me when I had her over at Marcy's house, but like I said, I removed the trading cast. But yeah, I am just figuring out the lighting of this house. I also added some other finishing touches into the rooms and the balconies. I think I added the dumbbell rack to the balcony, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I did. But yeah, this has been me building this apartment. And if you enjoyed my video, kindly give me a like and comment and a follow. And I will see you on my next Sims 4 speed reading video. Bye!